Hey everyone, welcome to our social media marathon. Today I have Judy Fox. If you haven't met Judy, she is a top voice around LinkedIn in the world of marketing. She is a top 10 LinkedIn coach with Yahoo Finance and featured in events like Social Media Marketing World, Social Media Examiner, and I think I've been to some of those in San Diego. So I think some of our team members also have had chance hearing from you, learning from you, and you are pretty present in our world of community members around high level. Judy, thanks for saying yes to us, and I'm excited to get started.
I'm excited to be here. So, we are going to turn your LinkedIn into a business sales funnel. And are we also doing any kind of questions in the middle, or we're just going straight through?
I say we go straight through because there's so much content that we have to cover. But before we get started, Judy, give us your story. What is your background? How did you get into the world of digital marketing? And we'll get started with the LinkedIn stuff, I'm sure, in a little bit here.
Yes, I studied chemical engineering as my degree, which I think there's a lot of engineers I've met through the high level world. And the connection that I have to why LinkedIn and why did I leverage business on LinkedIn is because I started my own engineering consulting firm after being laid off in the 2008, 2009 economic hit that hit the industry. So I was already 10 years into my career. So I started working 1999. So by the time that economic crisis hit, I was in the perfect position to launch my own business and I used LinkedIn. So the power of creating those relationships, building a business on LinkedIn myself is how I ended up transitioning. Almost, it took 10 years from that moment to 2018 when I finally launched what I knew to do to get business on LinkedIn. Small engineering consulting firms started hiring me because I was on request for proposals against them. And they were asking, how are you networking? How are you getting business? And I said, it's all coming through because of LinkedIn. So
Wow.
that's how everything started, which is why I called it my LinkedIn Business Accelerator, because every single business I worked with, I was just getting them connected, getting them to network, getting them to post content that would start conversations. And it turned into amazing sales funnels for lots of great businesses.
And I assume all the leads and responses and inquiries that you build from LinkedIn somehow marries high level in the back end of the automations and everything and creates a whole new experience for your customers.
Yeah, because LinkedIn is only going to take the connection so far. Because when you have to actually get to, especially any kind of B2B level business or anything that is maybe more complex of a conversation, you have to take it off LinkedIn. A sales demo, a sales call to talk and to meet the stakeholders. And
Yeah.
many times, depending on which business you're working with, you need to have 3 or 4 meetings before you can sign contracts. And you need to make sure all of your deliverables are in alignment with the company. So, again, depending on the size of the team, the size of the contract, the size of the client's needs, you have to take it off of LinkedIn. And High Level is a great software and tool to schedule those calls, to track your clients. So,
I love that. And just one important question before we start sharing slides. Are those Fox ears because your last name is Fox? Like I'm seeing the whole branding of Fox here.
there's a lot of foxes back there with a LinkedIn cup. And yes, I leaned into my last name, Fox. I leaned into that in 2008, 2000, no, wait, it was more closer to 2018 when I finally leaned into it. So I've had the last name Fox a long time. But it's interesting because as an engineer, sometimes we don't necessarily, or I'm lumping myself with engineers now, but anyone in the technical field, sometimes we want to be taken seriously and we assume a fox ear might send a message. But honestly, I think we've reached a point where we just want business to also be fun and we want to work with people who can have a good time and get good results.
I
So
love that.
I I like to think there's great people who understand I can hear better with 4 ears here. I can see better too.
So, why LinkedIn? I know this is a social media marathon and several speakers are speaking on different platforms and stuff like that. What made you jump into LinkedIn as like one of your big sources of traffic?
Two reasons. Number one, on a personal level, I was going through something in my personal life that was, it just made me realize that spreading yourself thin is not always the answer. So trying to be omnipresent everywhere means that maybe you don't create the actual relationships in the channel that you needed to. So if you identify LinkedIn as containing a lot of your ideal clients, but you spread yourself too thin, you may end up missing out on creating relationships in one spot. And I still believe in repurposing. I love repurposing, but it is ideal to lift one channel closer to the top because you're going to see in my talk, I say this all the time, but where you focus will always expand. And when you spread yourself too thin, you're just not focused. And we can feel that as a connection too.
I love that. Now, you said an important word there, omnipresent, right? And so I'm thinking LinkedIn is one of the channels, but the whole point of the prospecting and everything you do is to make sure you surround that lead in multiple different facets. So email, texting, voicemails, phone calls, articles, blogs, all these different things. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and have you share your screen and let's go right into the content as we have
Sounds good.
planned. Yeah, I feel like
uh,
we could talk for hours on pros and cons of LinkedIn.
yes. So you've got it. You can see it. Okay.
So I can see your speaker notes. Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Perfect.
so
Yeah.
that is now the right view. Are we good?
Let's see. Yep.
Okay. So hopefully we've gotten a good screen here. Um, I love that I got Gary Vaynerchuk to say I love LinkedIn. So that was a good gif. And that's Casey Neistat. And then I was asked to go into the YouTube studios in LA. That was me recording a LinkedIn video series and a coaching, video. So
Nice.
you can actually see my background that I talked about already. The thing I did not mention is I also got a master's degree in sustainability, which includes business sustainability. So that is another reason why I leaned into LinkedIn because when I looked out at all the platforms and I evaluated their level of staying stable and having a long lasting effect on my life and my business, I leaned into LinkedIn. So
I love that.
and I've gotten some great client results that I can show you and talk about. So I had one client because of posting on LinkedIn, he ended up with a Netflix opportunity and is actually the connected to the show Emily in Paris now and was able to walk the red carpet. So there's amazing opportunities that we don't realize is because of LinkedIn, because some of the business deals that is behind all the flashy fun that you see on a red carpet or on a TV screen, a lot of the relationships and the financials are happening on LinkedIn. So,
Got it.
all right. Oh, this was one of the slides. Um, so this is what we're going to cover today. I want to make sure we hit each point. We're going to make sure you get your top 3 LinkedIn profile features that are going to convert you. I'm going to hit you right out of the gate with, I love the term fast action traction. So you are going to get these 3 top places, and there will just be so much clarity there. What to post on LinkedIn to get clients. A lot of times we don't just want to make noise. We want to have the results on the other side of creating content and posting. And finally, leveraging AI and the tools to stay consistent and visible on a platform like LinkedIn, but also to repurpose to other platforms. All right. I use this picture and the Etch a Sketch because a lot of times we have to etch a sketch our brains for what we think about LinkedIn. I'd love to see what you think about LinkedIn. What
I
what do you have anything off top of your mind? There is no wrong answer here.
I think LinkedIn seems to be very SEO driven and writing driven in my bare minimum knowledge that I have of LinkedIn.
I love
Um,
how you went really positive. Some people don't start there. So let's see. I've got some feedback from my market research. I've heard, professional or just boring, depending on how nice somebody wants to be. That it's overly professional sometimes. It's stuffy. I get the words like, oh, I don't know how to show up because it's so professional.
True.
They do not like the spam DMs, the
Mm,
direct messages.
mm,
I don't know
yeah,
if you've experienced any of that. So,
absolutely.
the news feed. Some people are like, I just can't scroll it. It's not serving me. And then to that, I
Right.
will always say, just create your own news feed. I don't even think people realize you can build your own news feeds on LinkedIn.
Did not know that.
Then we've solved one of your problems on here. If I can solve one of these pain points here, we're done. And that it's only for job searching. And I think we've gotten over that one because some people just say, "Oh, I just put my resume on there." I'm going to definitely show you how to make your LinkedIn profile a sales landing page, a website. So, all right. And I'm going to start with the LinkedIn profile, which I call my evaluation stage. So I told you I was going to jump right into it and get
Let's do
fast
it.
action traction. We are not wasting any time because I want you guys to increase touch points that lead to sales. To me, touch points are anytime a client sees you, hears about you, connects with somebody that's talking about you. I mean, we're all having a touch point right now. I am touching you through the screen. So I like the word touch point because it feels more personal and it feels
Yes.
more energy exchange, like
Sure.
high five kind of touch points. So we will get to awareness, but right now we're going to start right in the middle with evaluate. We want to drive any visible traffic to your LinkedIn profile. That's the ultimate place to convert. So the first place to start is Google yourself. Or now, I guess I could say AI, ask ChatGPT or talk with AI about yourself. That's kind of a cool thing now, too. So now I feel like we're adding Google yourself and talk with ChatGPT about yourself. I tend to use ChatGPT, but there's many, many tools out there. Do you have a favorite AI chat tool?
I don't have one or the other favorite,
Okay.
but I tend to use ChatGPT if I ever use it. I don't use it as often.
So your future clients are Googling, your referrals are going to Google you. If I get referred to somebody, I'm going to say, wait, who are they? What are they? I mean, the first time I heard about high level, I was Googling. I was like, what's going on? Who are they? Where'd they come from? What's happening? What's their history? We are curious. We are so curious. And so the power is knowing that LinkedIn has strong domain authority. So if I search my own name, I'm going to find out LinkedIn's my second visible link on my Google search results. If I search go high level, it's the second result for me. When I search your term here, just high level, I don't even think I put the go, just high level, and this is what's going to show up. So if you are not thinking, hey, that's a website link, that is a place where when they land on the LinkedIn high level page, when they land on the Judi Fox page, I should be treating it as if it could convert right from that page.
I
So,
love that. So it does have some ranking and SEO attached to it for sure.
yeah, so you were right. You're getting all the answers. I said there was no wrong answers, but you actually got like the right answer. So, and I wanted to also show you yeah, what happens. So this is the top three. I told you we're going to get really quickly into it. The
Yes.
number one spot at the top is always before you have to scroll down. If you can, above the fold is what they call it. That's the old newspaper term. But above the scroll, above the fold, when a client can land and see something at the top that converts them, that is your power. So, right at the very top, you don't have to pay for this feature. It is a free, brand new feature. LinkedIn is giving you this external link that you can put at the top of your profile. So you just have to edit your profile, go in to turn it on. And that kind of how-to step is definitely out there in the world. We're just going to make sure you know that this exists so you can go out and take advantage of this. So I don't want to
Now,
get too
quick
much
question
into a
for you.
how-to right now.
Yeah, quick question for you. So if I am new to marketing and if I'm a beginner, how does a feature like that help me? Do I want people to leave LinkedIn and go to like my own website? Is there like what are the benefits on that?
Yes, I would say number one, the most powerful thing I did early in my business was turn that into a calendar booking link. And with a few questions so that I didn't just get random bookings, I did make it a qualified call that we would have. But even if you ask 3 or 4 questions, you're setting yourself up for a lot more inbound leads. Or if you have a conversation in the direct messages, you can actually say, "Hey, just click on my profile. It's really easy to get on my calendar." And
Hmm.
just that way, many times people think something's spam in their direct messages because they didn't ask for that link. But if you give them a simple call to action that says, "It's easy to click over to my profile and you're going to be able to find the link," that makes people feel like they have a choice in their decisions, and it makes people feel more permission-based marketing. I got your permission, which was pretty low request to ask people to click on my profile and check me out and evaluate me. I'm just asking for you to evaluate me. And that is so much less spammy than I need you to go off LinkedIn and go click here and evaluate me
Yeah,
away from LinkedIn. You're allowing people to be where they said they wanted to spend time, and you're not trying to get them to click on an external link they don't trust yet.
makes
So
a lot of sense.
more people convert from a calendar here early on in their businesses, which I know Go High Level has a great calendar system that you can set up. I have an
Yes.
example coming up really soon. So early on in your business, I was told calls, calls, calls. The more people you talk to, the more the more you find out what people need. So I was booking calls left and right. I was averaging at least 30 to 60 calls a month at the
Wow.
beginning. Just, I want to book a call.
All
So,
from LinkedIn.
yes, that was a lot of relationship building. But if you think about it, there's 30 days in a month. During the week, I was aiming for about 2 people a day that I could try to connect
Got
with
it.
and do a call with,
Got it.
which 2 people a day is not a heavy lift when you really dial it back. So,
Yes, it's well, they're qualified too and they're manageable, right? So,
correct.
and there's intent behind them booking.
Yes. So, and this works. So, the next spot is the featured section. You can put your external links to start your client journey, to grow subscribers, and to get people to see more of your content, to add more touch points. So, I consider this to be hot, warm, cold. And it's actually in that order. So, right here, I have a hot link, which I think it's a hot link because it leads right to a sales page. If I'm not even, that's a hot lead. If somebody's like, "Yeah, you know what? I do want to work with her. I want to get started." Click to start. The middle link right here for me is a warm because it's a little less commitment. You're just saying, "You know what? I do want to subscribe to her newsletter." Perfect. We can spend more time together. Then the final one is this is just one article within the newsletter. This is only one piece of content. And that's even less of a ask of a client or a potential client. I'm not asking if you want to get what's on the other side of this, you're just getting value there. You're not getting any kind of request to exchange between us. So there you go. Hot, warm, cold right in front of you.
Makes
And it
sense.
works. It allows people to self choose, and it's not just one choice across the bottom, which is hot, hot, hot. So many people just want to sell us, and that can be a turnoff. I recommend mixing hot, warm, cold options.
Got it. Now, quick question for you. How can we make sure most of these leads that are coming to us are at least warm or hot when it comes to like providing, I guess, resources or they're subscribing into our ecosystem. Like what does that temperature preference look like?
I would say we'll probably cover that more when we talk about content
Okay.
strategy to warm
Okay.
people up.
Got it.
So it
Okay.
kind of creates a circle. It's like I call it an eyeball tornado, but I have a lot of like fun terms just because I think business should be fun. We should have a good time while we're getting results. So,
I love that. Okay,
um,
let's keep going. I don't want to stop you.
yeah, I want to make sure we get to everything. So we've got finally down in the experience section. I consider this to be my like super hot leads because if you've taken the time to go down to my experience section, in some ways, it's a reward for both of us. You're rewarded for being so interested that you can get direct to my calendar here, basically. You can get a much faster track, but it's not so in your face up at the top. I would say this is a little bit different of a funnel. I've built a lot of funnels on LinkedIn and there's many ways to build them. I'm just showing you that these are the three places you want to take advantage of. And depending on how much time you've been spending on LinkedIn, you might want to pull it back and make it a little bit of a space for people to warm up versus trying to get them all the way into your hottest part of your funnel. So yes,
Got
whether
it.
you're doing top of funnel, I had an opt-in type of funnel for a long time. And I've made mine a little warmer because I have a lot more social proof now and I'm spending more time with people. So I can maybe turn up the heat a little. So
Gotcha.
there you go. Those are the three spots. You have to know they exist and you want to take it, you want to know that you need to take advantage of those three places because without this, people's profiles are not converting. They're not realizing the power of intentionally leveraging all three of these locations in a very strategic way. So
That's
there you
brilliant.
go.
That's
We
that's
got
brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant. And I would assume you would have different automations for each one of these traffic channels, or I guess sections, right?
Yeah, yeah, you can get very creative, especially with any type of tracking links, any type of bit lilies. Like the world is your oyster here. I mean, if you're trying to drive traffic to a podcast, that could be a very powerful channel, an AI chatbot that has an opt-in. Like it is incredible what you can do. It's almost exponential and I've seen some really great examples, but we got to start somewhere. So at a minimum, you
Yes.
have to step number 1 for everyone listening, just make sure you're using these features. Even if you don't get the perfect funnel in place, you have to start somewhere. And if all you do is put the exact same link down the whole page, that will convert. We will do what you focus on. So I tell people all the time, if you don't know where to start, put your calendar link here in the link at the first one I showed you, put another calendar link in the feature section, and guess what? Put another calendar link in your experience section. We won't miss it. At some point, we're going to end up clicking on a calendar link. So think about those sales pages that you scroll. Every time they have a call to action button, it sends you to the same place. They're just hoping somewhere along the scroll, you're going to pop out and go into what the opt in or the calendar booking link is going to give you right there. So take
Brilliant.
advantage. I've built those and they convert. There was a woman who put her calendar link, and within a month, she had 75K increase in her income
Wow.
just by consistently putting her calendar link down the whole page. So there you go. It
Mm.
is a powerful 3-step system here. And I have an example. So remember, I said Google yourself. So we have Pamela. I connected with her at the conference recently, and I wanted to point out when I Googled her, LinkedIn's her 4th link. So I'm going to be more likely to choose website, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. So you've got a 25% chance, at least if you put them all equal. But a lot of people think business, I do need to check out her LinkedIn page. especially because she's a digital marketing coach and strategist. I think it's really interesting the positioning of how strong LinkedIn makes you look right there, depending on the words you use versus maybe Facebook. So I'm going to get into that. But so when you land on her LinkedIn page, and I'm not saying you need to go, everything doesn't need to be optimized, but at a minimum, you can see that at the very top of her profile, she converts people over to either her live boot camp, or I noticed she also had a link further on that converted people directly to high level. So it can be as simple as get on over. You checked me out
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, get on into my world.
It makes sense. And shout out to Pamela. She's amazing. If you have never got a
Yes.
chance to meet her in our high level world, she's one of our affiliates, and has a ton of resources as well. So Pamela, thanks for being an example here on this presentation.
Yes, I love using examples. I think that's the only way we can actually connect all the dots and make sure we can. I love calling it modeling after success. So she is a great success story, and just having at the very top of her profile so much clarity that it allows people to self decide and permission based marketing. Hey, I do want to go over and check out her live boot camp. I do want to click on her high level link here. So there you go. Thank you, Pamela. She is amazing. I've enjoyed meeting her and getting to know her. So, and next we are at the awareness. So now we're going back up in the funnel because I think it's important personally before you start driving traffic with posting. A lot of people start with posting. And I went right to your LinkedIn profile because if you post and you get visibility, where are they going to go? A lot of them click to your profile. And if your profile just at the top, all you got to worry about is the top. If you don't get to the rest, don't worry about it. Just do what Pamela did. She's got the top all organized. She has the rest of her profile looking amazing, but at a minimum, just do the top. And next is awareness. People have to know you exist to be able to work with you. I had to know high level existed. There was a moment in time where I did not know about high level. And then there's a line in the sand, and then I knew about high level, and then the touch points have to increase. And then I'm on an email list and I'm getting all these emails, and that's how it goes. We all know how it goes. Touch points are going to lead to your sales. And how do we get that awareness on LinkedIn? So let's go. What to post? I start with a lot of people already feel comfortable posting other places. So I'm going to try to connect the dots. Facebook, people talk with their friends and family, or they have a friend or family type of tone or language that comes pretty easily. Like me and you are talking and we're saying I and me, and we're having a really personable conversation because that's the tone of Facebook. It's easy to get a lot of people. I mean, that's where I think that was my first social media. Oh, MySpace. I had a MySpace page. Forgot about MySpace. I had my top 8 friends. Um, then on Instagram, we've adopted, I'm not saying everyone, this is an 80% of people tend to have a more, if they get on Instagram stories or they're posting, they talk about like, you're going to need to know this, or you are going to love what I have to share, or you're going to love this product if they're featuring something. Um, of course, we still use the words I and me, but there's an energy that has like, let me show you my life. You are an audience on Instagram. It's definitely the influencer language on Instagram as a overall 80% of the tone. Of course, we can use it however we want. I'm just saying what percolates to the top. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn is doing business together. It is a with language. So we can get results on LinkedIn. Our business is doing well. Us type of language. Like, what do you think about this new regulation that came out, and how do you think that affects us? Because we're at the table I like to picture myself writing content at a conference round table,
Mm,
and we are developing a conversation that anyone in the business world can join us in our industry. And if you just slightly shift to that tone, you can actually take your content from Instagram and Facebook, scrub it up with a little we language, and it ends up converting.
brilliant. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because a lot of times when I see content on LinkedIn, it's very much um, like an announcement or like here's what's happening in the industry or here's my opinion of changes that happen with a certain business or it's almost like a camaraderie oriented feel versus some of the other platforms.
Yes. And one of the other reasons why people will engage on that type of language is because they also want the results on LinkedIn that they're on there to find. So they cannot look like they don't know what they're talking about.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if you try to get on LinkedIn and say, "Are you struggling with this?" you're going to get crickets because people in front of their bosses and their peers cannot admit to a pain point outright. They can almost talk about pain points as an industry. They can say, you know what, our industry is struggling with XYZ. That's how you can hit the pain points.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's almost like a third voice or a third view.
It allows people to talk about things that might be affecting them without admitting that it's affecting them.
Makes a lot of sense.
How can you admit to having some struggles without admitting to having struggles? Because we are all human and we all have them, but on LinkedIn, we're not going to admit to them. But you can get around that. Just talk about it like it's an industry issue,
Mm.
not an individual issue. So,
Yeah. Even like when I see folks that are personal brand oriented, they always lead with questions of like, hey, comment below if you feel the same way about this problem. It's not
yes.
necessarily about themselves, it's like they're facilitating the questions often.
Yes. And yeah, that's actually, I think it might be the next slide. Well, the next slide is me showing that it works. So this is Kate, and I worked with her about a year ago, and around, well, there you see, January to March, within almost 2 months, but 1 month specifically in February, shifting that language was a huge reason. And then I'm going to show you the other three pieces of content that we leveraged and how we did it. But I love this because I love results and I love numbers. So how much views do you think this is? That is a big spike because each
Yeah.
spike is already over 50,000 views. So she was getting pops of views and visibility well over 50,000 people. That's a lot when you go from zero.
Yeah, and this I'm
So
assuming this is organic, no ads or
yes,
anything.
no ads,
Yeah.
all 100% organic. So,
Wow.
you want to take a guess? I like
Well,
numbers.
it looks, well, just reading at the graph, it looks about 107,
Oh,
107,000.
well, here's what's really cool. And this is again back to like my graph and engineering mind, the amount of eyeballs in the white space underneath each peak is really cool because it added up to over 1 million impressions on her content.
Wow. Wow.
Because the content on LinkedIn churns. Once you have a huge spike, it will keep pushing out your content. I just want to reiterate like how powerful that is on LinkedIn. And this is 100% organic and it is
Wow.
still available on LinkedIn. I think there's a lot of talk about algorithms and, um, you know, I just go back to take radical ownership of your journey. You can, and LinkedIn is a powerful place to do it if you kind of accept that it is that we space and you lean into making others look smart for commenting on your content.
Hmm.
So when you kind of just shift it, you're like, okay, I need to shift. It changes your perspective and your mind, but you got 1 million impressions on the other side of doing that. And she's been growing. I'm pretty sure she might even past me. Like she just kept going. I love it. So congrats, Kate.
Wow.
And I will tell you, these are the three types of posts. Instead of getting into the nitty gritty of like how to write a post, because none of that will last forever. What actually lasts forever is understanding how to be a leader and have a leadership type of post on LinkedIn that gets you the visibility. Because if you're getting visibility, you're converting people to your profile. And I'll show you how to do that. So, number one, you already said this one, you're already getting things like ahead of time here. You ask great questions. As a leader, if you can ask great questions, when I say great questions, not just yes or no, not just have a rhetorical question.
Sure.
That's not a real question. It has to be a great real question, like a real one. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense, but
Yeah, you
somebody
want to
can on.
avoid yeah, you want to avoid like yes or no questions. You want discussion-oriented
Yes.
questions. Yeah.
Yep. So the word great is contains a lot in there, but if you see a post on LinkedIn that's going viral, maybe that's a great research moment to say, what was the question? Is there a good question here? Because on LinkedIn, people will engage in good questions. The other type of content is your creator energy. If you're explaining something, if you're giving people actions or how to's, the how to type of post can look, doesn't always have to have the words how to. It could be 3 ways you need to do something, or it could be 5 lessons I learned from starting my business and um or 5 mistakes. If you want to, you can fall on the mistakes you've made and what you've learned from them. All of those have what I call the creator energy. You're creating conversation around um energy and around actions that people are taking, actions you've taken and actions they can say in the comments that they've taken, especially if you ask for their advice. What would they have done differently? What would they do next? You're inviting them into your business journey. And that's the creator energy. And then the coach energy is where you become a source of sharing resources. Hint, hint, if you share that we're having this high level marathon, that is sharing a resource. And you become the go to expert that people think of when sharing resources along your business journey. We benefit and we want to follow people who are sharing the resources they're gaining. So I follow people that say, you know what, I'm learning about AI. Here's my top 3 AI tools this week that I have looked into. That is the coach energy. If you're
Mm,
continuously each week leaning into these 3 types of energy, that's why it's a beautiful triangle. And that was the results that Kate got on the other side of doing this. So,
brilliant. And there's a part in there that tells me it's maybe better to be vulnerable in some sense, especially when it comes to the creator energy. Is that a good assumption, or do you want to keep it like professional, or like what is the feel for LinkedIn when it comes to here's my failure in business, right? Is that well received typically, or is it
yes. So, of course, depending on your ideal client and your community, I like to say you're trying to show up on LinkedIn in a relatable way to the people who hire you. So, if you are a therapist or if you are an interior designer, that may look different than how an engineer is going to show up and how you might share your challenges. But I do think I can say to myself, you know what, Judi, you can get on LinkedIn and be relatable. You
got it?
don't always have to open up to over the top vulnerability.
Got
Or
it.
I just want to, people ask that all the time because they feel like, okay, LinkedIn's stuffy. How do I undo that? Or, but if I would be willing to have anyone in my office share what I just shared as a story that could maybe help the next employee that joins after me, that's a lesson worth sharing. So maybe there was something I learned early on in the office that I was in and I turn it into a lesson shared. That allows me to share a relatable but slightly vulnerable learning moment, but not necessarily putting myself in a position to not win future work or contracts. You don't want to
Got
hurt
it.
yourself
Got it.
or your business. So,
That makes a lot of sense. So you're in the mode of being interviewed at all times.
kind of, yeah. Yeah, instead of turning like, what's your greatest weakness? I am just overly organized.
Love it.
We
Okay,
all
let's
know
keep
that.
going.
It
Let's
is
keep
that
going.
space on LinkedIn, but I think we can find our way through it to be as ourselves as possible and not open the door to depending on your industry. If you're a therapist, go for it. You will definitely connect with your clients the more vulnerable and relatable you are. Whereas you may change your tone if you are a C-suite of a car company, like it's a totally different
Yeah,
world. So,
makes sense.
I give you examples because each of these got me 30,000 to 70,000 views per post here. And the power is seeing the coach voice. I was sharing a new rollout. LinkedIn's rolling out a new feature. Let's talk about it. The creator post is how to do something. And the curious post, opening up, it's just right at the beginning, right when you open up the post, let me know which one I'm getting. Which person am I getting today? Because we will be attracted and convert through each of these three types of posts. Because as you get touch points, I'm getting a touch point of I'm a go to expert. I'm getting a touch point of I know what I'm talking about and I can create results on the other side of my advice, which is the how to. I can get your results from you learning how to do something. And then on the curious, the best leaders I've crossed paths with have asked the best questions in the conference rooms I've been in. And sometimes they elicit the a great conversation. So that one just asked, what does the term self-care mean to you? Because I think self-care and business go hand in hand. So that
And
was a
I,
great question and it got over 282 comments. So
yeah, and I assume you're posting this at least once a week. You have three different modes that you're making sure is visible. Like, what is the cadence
So
of
here's what's interesting, and I always get this on my profile, Peep. I do so much now for my clients that I actually have reached a point where I'm not posting as much because I have a lot of evergreen content out there. So I've
Gotcha.
almost graduated to evergreen.
Got it. Makes
This
sense.
is the beginning journey that I'm showing you that I now take my clients like Kate through to show her how to do what this is. So yeah,
Got it.
each time she was getting up to that 70K, 100K because this works. And yes, her schedule was 1 to 2 posts per week. So she could figure out how to basically nail this. Um, the power of understanding how to do all three types of posts is um, letting your audience keep building versus maybe creating a post in the middle just because you're, oh my God, I have to post.
Hmm.
That have to post energy ends up dropping your audience and dropping your views.
Got it.
So I do recommend sometimes people, I ask them to dial it back until they can kind of get the we language and the three voices. Because once you do, you can maintain views for basically for the rest of your life, is how it feels.
Hmm.
um, but yes, this sometimes requires people to do less to actually get more. I know that sounds funny, but
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for sure.
yeah, your reputation on LinkedIn is connected to kind of how you posted last. So if you can maintain these three types of posts, you will maintain the audience. Whereas I notice some people will have a really, really great post and it'll go to, if it goes to 100,000 people, that's amazing. And then the next post goes to 100 views. And this is being not basically by not maintaining this, if that makes sense. So
Got it.
perfect. The so your post is the airplane in this picture. And I am the content creator who is the Fox, the traffic, airplane traffic director, the air marshal, or whoever I think it's I don't remember the name
Air
just air
traffic
traffic
controller.
controller.
Yeah. Yeah.
You You have the power after each post. At the end of the written part of each post, you have the power to direct where that visibility goes. So if you're getting 30,000 views and you're asking yourself, well, they didn't convert. I'm going to go right over to your post that you got 30,000 views and I'm going to scroll down and say, well, where did you direct them to? Did you tell them to do anything? Did you say, go to my profile, click on my name? What did you tell them? Did you tell them about your business? So you can create either a signature line at the bottom of each post. You can create a very simple signature. I've seen people have really complex signatures, but you have to be the director of that post, of that airplane. That airplane contains 30,000 eyeballs and you have to direct them or else it's just going to like scatter and go everywhere. So,
Mm. And I'm assuming you do that with hashtags as seen on the.
no, it's with
Okay,
the language. Sorry if my dog is barking. Somebody's
you're good.
delivering mail. It says click on my name and then I
Gotcha.
tag myself. So remember how we did all that power of building up your LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
I'm telling them go to my profile, follow me, ring the bell so you can get breaking LinkedIn news, client converting strategies, and business
Gotcha.
acceleration.
Yeah, so you're creating a call to action that drives them back to the profiles.
Yes.
Got it.
So the the power of moving that traffic is all the work that you did on your profile that we started with this presentation.
Yes.
So now, do you see the eyeball tornado?
Yes.
You want, because the more touch points you get with a client, the warmer they're going to become. So if each time a client sees your posts and you are consistently repeating your call to action and your signature line, you will convert 30. There's going to be a higher percentage of 30,000 people who will check out your profile, who will follow your instructions, especially if they like, wait, I really like that post. I love that how to, Judi. That one really hit me and at the exact moment I needed it. So, yeah, I'm going to take your instructions and I'm going to follow them. If you give no instructions, so hashtags are not instructions. Hashtags I tell people if you're spending more than 10 minutes on hashtags, you're doing hashtags wrong.
Hmm.
Your
Okay.
hashtag strategy should be so light and inconsequential. So, like when it comes to the see how I have this like indescript kind of blank line at the bottom, you don't want your hashtags to be important except for your own name. I have my hashtag as Fox Rocks. See how I made it more important? All the other hashtags don't matter. I mean, if you're spending time on hashtags, it's the hashtags are not the reason I got 30,000 views.
Got it. Okay.
They they impacted my views maybe 2 or 3% max. So, it's the reposts. I got 19 reposts. It's the comments, it's the likes, and it's making it one of those pieces of content I can't I assume with my language here, this might have been a breaking news because I talked about, hey, you want to follow me for LinkedIn breaking news. So
Got it. Okay.
there
That
you
makes
go.
sense. Now, how does this all tie to high level, like when it comes to automations and all of that?
Perfect. Love it. um, the content scheduling, how to stay consistent. You led right into this.
I know. I feel prophetic.
I know. So we have an amazing social planner that allows you to shift. And that's why I love being able to see that you can connect Instagram and Facebook and you can schedule out your content. And if you think through, oh, even if it's a tiny bit of shifting the language to we, us, or that shift over to LinkedIn, and you take what you wrote for Instagram and you edit the language a little bit to collective with language, you can post and repost the same content. Just copy, paste, edit a little bit. So, so yeah, I basically was going to say that's the next piece of the puzzle. And the most powerful piece, which I appreciated, I said this and then I was checking out the high level pages talking about the tool. I wanted to read what you're putting out into the world so I make sure. And one of the things was leaning into content that you can repeat. If you have an onboard new clients, if you onboard new employees, create a template for that. it's a repeatable type of celebration or a repeatable type of announcement. And you could create two or three templates if you feel like just doing the same template over and over again. But even if you rotate between two or three templates, it allows us to connect with your team and who you're announcing and feature those employees. So I made a list here of the ones that I tell my clients to lean into. Birthdays. We love a birthday break room cake moment. So people love celebrating their birthdays. Any business milestones or even looking back on your business anniversaries, but milestones can also be something you decide as a company to celebrate. That's the power of not necessarily just seeing anniversaries and business milestones as the same thing. You get more. You get more if you make up milestones. I'm just kidding. But imagine if you created a business milestone of launching a new feature. The day that feature goes out, that is a business milestone that a year from now, you can actually schedule out a post that celebrates I mean, I'm not saying maybe right at that minute, but it allows you to think ahead to say, you know what, that would be a powerful post. A year from now, let's look at the success of this new feature we're rolling out. Let's look at the client success that we've received or that we can quantify. We love numbers. So yeah, I like thinking business milestones are connected to financial or social numbers, any kind of data that you can connect it to. That is
Yeah.
really cool on LinkedIn. We
Yeah,
love
it could
those.
be simple as we've served 100 clients as of
Yeah.
today, or 1,000 clients, or whatever.
Yeah. You could say I've booked 500 sales calls. Like any number could be a milestone. And sometimes we forget even the smaller numbers can be milestones. I mean, it's still really impressive to say I booked 100 sales calls. I went from 0 to 100 sales calls and I'm celebrating that milestone. Because guess what? That tells the audience on LinkedIn, you've already booked 100. You're in good company to now book more. And it actually is going to send a signal for other people to go, oh, if she booked 100, that means 100 people trusted her. I'm going to book the next one. And people want to do something they think other people are doing. So keep track of your numbers because I mean, these numbers are not, they don't have to be thousands. They don't have to be millions. They can be 50, they can be 100. So, especially if you even link it to high ticket or exclusive too. And, or if you reverse it and say, you know what, we had a wait list of 50 people and we only had 50 spots or something. You kind of link it to a container that has a closed number. Then you can even say, like, I was only going to be able to take on 10 clients this year, and I met my goal of 10 clients this year. So that sends another great signal. I love numbers.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think people can relate to it better as well, that it's something that's tangible sometimes.
Yeah. So these are all repeatable pieces of content that you can plan out. You can create templates. This is what I do. This is what allows you to not have to sit down and say, what are we going to post on LinkedIn? There's no more blank sheet of paper in front of you. You have industry events. Even if you, as a company, make a resource guide, so you're the go to expert, imagine your company every year has a repeatable roundup of industry events they plan on attending this year, or they're keeping their eye on. They don't even have to say they're going to attend, but they could just be a creator of a roundup. And of course, it can contain your event in there.
True.
But that's what people do all the time. They say, you know what? These are some of the top 10 CRM events that are going to be happening this year. And we're keeping our eye on them. And we will definitely be seeing what comes out of the posts that people create from these events. So as you highlight others, it's called the golden halo effect. You actually highlight yourself and you're kind of surrounding people with worthy of all of us being highlighted together. So,
Mm.
and holidays, we love all those national holidays. I think I personally would love to run an account that wants to celebrate like National Talk Like a Pirate Day. Like, our wait, what's a pirate's favorite letter? I think I already gave it away.
I would say R.
You thought it'd be the R, but it's actually the C.
Ah,
I'm just kidding.
you got me.
I know. Well, we're getting near the end. So everyone, thank you so much. But I want to, oh, and you can also schedule out any kind of schedule you want to create around weekly, monthly tips, anything in your industry that you can make a repeatable schedule. I have one client that does a weekly LinkedIn Live and they interview people in their industry to just be seen as the go-to place for industry conversations. And that has gained them 70,000 followers on their company page. So it is really powerful to have repeatable content. So all right. I will just point out that we have LinkedIn newsletters. I want you to stay visible. Remember, I told you you can graduate to long-term visibility. So a post on LinkedIn, and by the way, anything I said for those creator, coach, curious leadership voices, it works on the LinkedIn newsletters. It's the same type of content. It just is presented in the newsletter format. A post is going to last you about 30 hours, but a LinkedIn newsletter, so far I've had them be lasting over 4 years. They still convert
Wow.
business, which means you don't have to post, 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 post. If you have um a catalog of a lot of content or out in the world, you've been on podcasts, YouTube, masterminds, social media marathon, webinars, all of that content can live on, especially if you leverage a newsletter on LinkedIn. And it has
Got it.
really good SEO now with AI scraping and looking for the experts to feature and on Google. And this also elevates your perception with journalists, PR, and media.
Wow, brilliant. And I didn't realize there was like longevity that you got to pay attention to when I guess there's content fatigue that happens.
Yeah, yeah. So this allowed me to take a break. I've gone through a bunch of different things in my life where it's not a matter of if something's going to happen, it's a matter of when. So, and we all run into getting, even if you get sick for a couple days, it allows you to say, you know what, I'm either going to have a scheduling tool so I can hit that anniversary or I can pre-schedule my weekly tips, or you have this type of long form content that works while you sleep.
Brilliant.
And finally, this is also another place where high level tools can be linked and featured. You can book a call. I know, don't just ignore that that one's Calendly. Just sorry, just ignore that.
No
But
worries.
that one was a real life example from years ago that it still converts business to this day. I can actually go in and edit that now but it is a powerful feature that you can embed links and images inside of LinkedIn in your newsletter. So, for example, like your newsletter, as you're scrolling down, I can see that I've got a ad there. You can actually see the AI chat opt-in if you want to embed that in your newsletter. It's
Got it.
really cool. And you can be gaining opt-ins right here, people's names, phone numbers, emails, all of that.
Brilliant.
So and finally, AI can talk with your LinkedIn data. I just want to make you aware of this. I would say this is also kind of graduating to the next level of AI and LinkedIn together. But if you don't know it exists, then you're not aware of it. I think it's more important to know that this is even an option. On LinkedIn, you can export all your data and ask AI to chat with it. Again, depending on your
Really?
business, your insights. But imagine at a bare minimum, it helps you spot content patterns for your posting strategies. It allows you to look back and use AI to decide and help you create templates. It's just powerful. So, and I did say you could steal my AI prompts. Um, Definitely jump on that. There's not much to say other than AI can fast track all the effort that you do. I personally like to say AI amplifies your leadership voice. Please don't let it take over your leadership voice. The examples I gave you for the views are from writing the content ourselves, not letting AI write it. So,
I think that's a good distinction because a lot of people tend to replace themselves with AI and they're like, oh, let me just, take the shortcut. But in the long term, I think your own genuine content still wins in the long run.
yes. So if I upload a transcript, the key words in this prompt is prioritize using the exact words that were said in the transcript. And maybe I should actually add that. But when you tell AI to not try to infer or fill in the blanks with words I didn't say, you start to tell AI, truly use the words out of my own mouth so I can create content. And that's how I've been able to get some of my clients who are recording podcast episodes. If you ask it to turn it into a newsletter, be very clear that the newsletter that comes out can be really good from AI if you tell it to use your exact words, because then it's just what you said. And it's maybe cleaning them up or simplifying it down, especially if you say just simplify and pull out the key statements, but always use my exact words.
Brilliant.
And finally, I have some tools. Notice high level ends up in each category there. But obviously, I use different tools for AI, my content strategy, even just using Canva for imagery, or I've used Opus Clip, I've used a script. Again, I'm not connected to all these tools other than I've used them. These are my top tools that I tend to gravitate towards. And obviously, high levels got you've got your toolbox is in all the categories here, which is really cool.
Absolutely. We are one of the few all-in-one, platforms that are built, it's built by marketers for marketers.
That is really impressive.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in the formation of this, I actually was like, wait, they are in each category. And yeah, I'm glad to connect. I appreciate when people say the GHL. That way I just know and I can prioritize, and also just it keeps it simple. You don't have to do much. GHL. We've
Yeah.
got a little code word. But yeah, I would love to connect with everyone here that watches this and let me know what you think if you have any questions, and let's create some high five touch points.
Awesome. Well, hopefully those of you that are watching, if you want to stop sharing, you
Oh
can.
yeah.
Let's
I gotta
add
find
some.
my
Yeah. So those of you that are watching, you are part of the social media marathon that's happening right now. And Judy, there is a lot to unpack there when it comes to LinkedIn. It's one of those, I feel like, platforms that people overshoot or they underestimate often of like what's the potential. And I've seen a lot of people crush it with LinkedIn, and it seems like you're crushing it. What are some final thoughts you have for the folks that are brand new and they're starting out and they feel like LinkedIn this is like this big mountain that they have to climb. They don't have content just yet. What would be the first couple of steps that you recommend to the brand new person?
step number one is comment. So comments on LinkedIn, I call it the instead of just like getting on the platform and just driving straight into the news feed, like you're just like T-boning the intersection. Go on and comment. And I do have a custom news feed that is already created if you wanted to get on a, I would say, more of a private news feed. Your comments are still going to be public, but you can scroll a news feed that is already made for you from someone like me who is building out news feeds with people I like to consume their content. So I do have that available as one of my links that you can get access to. So
Awesome. Well,
um, and yeah, comment. I will always tell people, because LinkedIn is networking. Imagine going to a networking conference, like hint, hint, go to the high level conference. And if you go to that event, what do you want people to do? You want people to talk to each other. Not everyone is going to be on stage 24/7, except for, I mean, we would love to have some people on stage 20, but we're mixing and mingling, and that is what the comments are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn comments can be the networking space that's in the hallway, that's with all the vendors, that's in the
yeah,
hey, do you want to go grab a drink or get dinner together tonight, or let's grab lunch. That's
yeah.
the networking, and that is the commenting on LinkedIn.
I love that. For those of you that are watching, if you don't have a high level account just yet, make sure you click some of the links below or go to our site or reach out to Judy. Either way, some way, somehow, jump into
I'll
the
get
high
it.
level family. Jump into the high level family. There's a ton of resources that's going to help you, and we're always down to jump on a Zoom call and help you set up your account as well. We take a lot of pride in our support and our success channels. But either way, Judy, thanks for saying yes. This has been
Thank you.
fantastic, and there's a lot of things to unpack here.
Well, I'm honored to be here, so thank you.
Awesome. Bye for now.